Welcome back to the podcast on the Diplomacy Next. Before we can just get into the conversation about the topic that we have posted upon social media, that's upcoming Karnataka elections, a short thing that your feedback, I mean, the viewers' feedback is valuable and critical for us to run this podcast. Uh, Normally, we do podcasts on the international relations, and occasionally I have been doing podcasts on national issues of national importance. And we are now heading towards upcoming Karnataka elections on May 10th. And I have got with me two outstandingly important people. I have with me Anusha Ravi Sood, who is a journalist and a political editor, I guess. And I have with me Tehseen Poonawalla, who is also a political analyst. I would like to welcome both of them on the podcast.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Mehraj.
much.
And so amazing to be with Anusha, who I've always interacted on Twitter with. So
Yeah,
great. If anyone
likewise.
knows Karnataka, Anusha knows Karnataka. So everyone watching this podcast, follow Anusha. She understands Karnataka.
Thank you.
So,
That's been very kind.
before we get into the statistical analysis of the things, we can just compare 2018 and now 2023. I would like to give the mic to Anusha to draw us a larger picture of what's happening down in the Karnataka as of now.
Like most people who were tracking Karnataka elections would know, the voting for Karnataka Assembly elections will take place on the 10th of May. And on the 13th is when we will know which way Karnataka voted. So counting day is 13th of May. That leaves political parties just a little less than 2 weeks to wrap up their campaigns, etc. And over the last 1 week, we've seen big wigs of both national parties come down to Karnataka, participate in campaigns, etc. Karnataka is a peculiar state, honestly, when you compare it to other states. Of course, there are two national parties that vie for the top position, but we also have a very strong regional party. You look at the other states in the south, they are largely, if you look at Tamil Nadu, it's the regional parties that actually vie for the top post, and national parties are somewhere along the margins in the boundaries. In Telangana too, that is the situation, with the Congress, of course, being the second largest party, but primarily Telangana is also has a government of a regional party. Andhra Pradesh national parties are nowhere to be seen. It's once again the regional parties there. So in Kerala, it's different because there are the left parties. The LDF, you can consider it a national party. The Congress is second in tow in Kerala. But in Karnataka, we have a nice mix. We have two national parties, we have a regional party, and surprisingly, the two national parties have not come out with their manifesto, but the regional party has. The JDS has come out with its manifesto, and it has made some wonderfully local claims that are specific to Karnataka, that are specific to Kannadigas, the interests of Kannadigas. The regional identity card is something that JDS, the party that gave India a prime minister from Karnataka, H.D. Devegowda, has promised to the people of Karnataka. Very, very state-specific, put state interests first kind of a manifesto that the JDS has come up with. The BJP, of course, is going into this election primarily with the prime minister as its focus and the union government and its schemes as their central focus, which some may say works wonders for the BJP because whenever it is Mr. Modi, there is this aura the BJP builds around him and his campaign, and he leads the party, whether it is the national election or a state election. But the BJP is in power in Karnataka, and it reflects a little poorly that the party has not been able to portray its state government achievements from the current term when it is going into elections, and it is largely focused on the prime minister instead of local leadership, instead of local issues, instead of local leaders leading. The only prominent local leader leading the party's campaign here is B.S. Yediyurappa, the former chief minister, but who has already declared his retirement from electoral politics. So quite a bit of an interesting, if you say, strategy there by the BJP. The Congress, on the other hand, is driving its campaign primarily around its local leadership, again, around local issues. Of course, there is also this mix of central leaders. See, the Congress is in a great position in Karnataka, not just because it's one of the few states that the party has a very alive thriving, dedicated cadre, but it also has leaders of great caliber and capacity. You can easily consider Siddaramaiah, a former chief minister from the Congress, as a mass leader in Karnataka, which is a rarity. You cannot pinpoint any other state in the Congress where the Congress can claim it has mass leaders, except in states that it is in power currently. Perhaps Ashok Gehlot can be seen as a leader of some stature. Anywhere else, the Congress has to look for leaders of that caliber. And there is another advantage the Congress has in Karnataka. The AICC president is from Karnataka, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. He doesn't like to call himself a Dalit leader, but the Dalits in Karnataka do look at him as a leader of national importance. Congress, of course, agrees that Mr. Kharge's elevation to the AICC post has added quite a bit of a weight to its campaign, especially in wooing or convincing SC voters in Karnataka, who are a divided bunch, who vote between Congress and JDS. They've been able to kind of bring everyone together. So overall, this is precisely what is happening in Karnataka. Campaigns, a lot of statements, promises. The Congress is coming up with its guarantees, although it has not come up with its manifesto. And the BJP is severely and heavily dependent on Mr. Modi's government and his schemes, and the JDS doing what a regional party does, putting its manifesto, putting all of its interests, focusing all of it as Karnataka first and Kannadigas first.
Thank you for being such elaborate on the first part of this podcast. And Tehseen has been quite vocal about this thing that if Congress has to win, if International Congress has to win, if any party for that matter has to win the elections in Karnataka, it has to be elections based on local issues rather than the issues that either directly target the personalities of the national level or some other sort. Tehseen, before you can just tell us about this thing, and importantly, why is Karnataka such an important state for the national politics and the national discourse?
It's very important for national politics because, as Anusha rightly said, it's given this great country a prime minister in Deve Gowdaji, HD Deve Gowdaji. But before that, it's also the historical state when Indiraji thought she would lose from North India. She came to Karnataka and she contested. So, and then Sonia ji contested from here against Sushma ji. So the Gandhi family and the National Congress has had a connection with this particular state. So there is a deep connection of national politics with the state of Karnataka, because very often it's seen that the prime minister only comes from Uttar Pradesh. But here is the state that's given prime ministerial candidates or has sort of created an acceptability of national figures. So this state is extremely important. Number two, while Karnataka is a very, very cosmopolitan state and it's a brilliant state, it also retains the culture which is unique to the state. And I think that is fantastic of how federal structure should play out. So if you see the average citizen from Karnataka or the Kannadiga, they're very proud of the Kannadiga culture. And which is what a lot of people above Maharashtra and Gujarat, say, for example, in the Hindi heartland, don't understand the culture that is there in Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, but particularly Karnataka and Maharashtra. So it plays that beautifully. So it, in that sense, is very important nationally. It also is important because those who win Karnataka tend not to win the union government. That's been the Karnataka thing. See, 2013 Congress won. 2018 Congress formed the government in Karnataka, although the BJP was the single largest party. And so Karnataka sort of elects a different state government and a different union government. Though, of course, this time the state government was out later on toppled and you had a double engine sarkar. I don't say that to the second part of your question. My advice is not for the BJP because the BJP will only benefit projecting Prime Minister Modi and bringing national politics in Karnataka. The BJP has nothing to speak of what it's done in the state. Nothing. It cannot name one flyover it built in Bangalore, one flyover. What the BJP realized under Yedurappaji is hijab wasn't working, Ganesh Mandal wasn't working, communal issues wasn't working, because Karnataka just isn't like that. Pragya Thakur wasn't working. So if you see some of the star campaigners have been dropped, young MPs, etc., because they have nothing of substance to contribute to the state of Karnataka. Their only contribution perhaps would be how plane doors can open, how hijab is there, how with this woman is doing that, how that woman is doing that. They have nothing of intellect to contribute. And Anusha will back me up on this. When Ishwarappaji made that statement on love jihad, etc., immediately Yedurappaji came out immediately and said, no, I don't agree with this. So you see, Karnataka did not allow that to happen. And therefore, Karnataka is very important. But my advice is for the Congress. The Congress, as of today, is in the driver's seat in Karnataka. It's not sealed, but it's in the driver's seat. And therefore, my advice to the Congress is don't be arrogant, don't dictate to the media, don't claim to call media bosses, don't attack the Prime Minister personally. Siddaramaiah is a mass leader, I agree. He has a lot of affinity for him. People are comparing his government because he's the only chief minister in recent history to complete 5 years versus the terrible governance that they've had here. But don't attack other castes, including the Lingayats, because look at the maths. The Congress is a 40% party in Karnataka, right? It just needs 3% to be 135 plus. You only need 3%. Don't lose that 3%. Because the Congress was also a 40% party in Gujarat. And look at how it's devastated. So don't make the Gujarat mistakes in Karnataka. Stick to the Himachal model. And when I say the Himachal model, I mean bring in your national leaders, campaign on national issues, state issues. Don't focus on national issues, focus on state issues. The national issues should be economy. State issues should be extremely important. Speak about those. Don't make personal attacks. That is the model that the Congress should perfect. It will win Himachal, it will win Karnataka, it will win in other states. The Congress should stick to that.
And still, yesterday we came across a comment that was trending. I mean, made by Malik Arjun Khargeji about the BJP as he got the clarification later in a press conference. What do you make of that? Even if you
self-goal, don't do it. I don't think this will help. This will not defeat the Congress. In fact, I tweeted this yesterday. I said it on a show, and then Anusha tweeted it today, and I quote tweeted her. This will not lead to the Congress defeat. Khargeji is not a Manishankar Iyer. Khargeji is not. I'm sorry, I'm so blunt because that's how I am. Khargeji is not a foot in the mouth politician. He is a Dalit icon. It gets difficult for the Prime Minister to attack him on caste, as he can attack other people on caste. It doesn't work with Dalit with Khargeji because he is a Dalit icon. And he's had a struggle to come up. But don't make these self goals, because the minute you open a slight door for the BJP, the might of the BJP, they push it open. So no need to insult other castes, no need to insult media bosses, no need to insult the Prime Minister, no need to fall for Satyapal Malik, no need to discuss Pulwama, need to discuss an industrialist. None of this is required. Karnataka should be a focus, and on a national issue, jobs and employment. Only those should be your focus. If at all the national leadership wants to talk about national issues, speak about the IT, speak about the startups, jobs going, speak about creating ministries for them, which they have in their promises that they are making. Speak about solutions. Don't become trolls. It doesn't behove the Congress, and the Congress in Karnataka, it doesn't behove. The great state of Karnataka does not deserve trolls. It deserves the Congress, which is Nehru's party. So don't be trolls.
I'll come back to you on Congress's further things or the strategy and the campaigning. I'll go to Anusha for BJP because we'll do maths here. In 2008, BJP got 110 seats. In 2013, BJP got 40 seats because of the Yedurappa and the Linga Factor. In 2018, it got 104 seats. What do you make of this pattern in the 2023? You're on mute.
I'm sorry about that. It's simple. The numbers tell you that Karnataka is not a natural state for the BJP, which means the party has never won an absolute majority on its own. But does that mean that party will not get an absolute majority? Absolutely not. Because Karnataka has, the electorate of Karnataka has been very categorical about the issues based on which they vote. So you spoke about some of the numbers. Let's also remember the BJP came into play in the political arena of Karnataka pretty late. In fact, Janata Party, even before JDS, the Congress has been part of Karnataka's political arena from the inception of the state. Unlike the BJP that made its significant entry only in the 90s. The BJP is relatively, you can still call a relatively new party to Karnataka. And this was the same, and Karnataka has been the only state in the south that the BJP has been able to form governments at least thrice. And all three times the BJP has had to resort to means other than simple majority because the party has not gotten simple majority ever. That's and let's remember when you speak about these numbers, 2008 was when the BJP had a chief minister phase in B.S. Yediyurappa. The party had great sympathy. B.S. Yediyurappa had great sympathy because he had been betrayed by the JDS, H.D. Kumaraswamy, who refused to give him the chief minister post. There was this huge Lingayat sentiment in favor of B.S. Yediyurappa, and he's also a farmer leader. People often forget that just because he's a Lingayat, that he's a farmer leader. He's also a farmer leader, and with all of that in place, the party could manage to get 110, which is their highest ever number of seats so far in the state. And 2018, you spoke about the number 104. This was when the Congress was in the opposition. There was anti-incumbency against the then Congress government led by Mr. Siddaramaiah. 2018 was also the peak of the Modi wave across the country. So in Karnataka, Mr. Modi also delivered many, many speeches. I'll refer to what Tehseen was trying to say in his previous answer. The mistake that the Congress did in 2018 also was pitching Siddaramaiah against Modi, the chief minister then of the Congress, against Mr. Modi, who was still a very popular prime minister. Despite all of that working in the party's favor, the party managed to win just about 104 seats. Eventually, they had to bring in MLAs from other parties to join them and form the government, which also shows that the Congress's vote share in Karnataka over the last 35 years has largely been unchanged, except for 2% up or down. That's pretty much where the Congress stands. That means going by the numbers per se, even 2013 numbers, you speak about how the party BJP won only 40 seats, but you put together the vote share of KJP and the BJP, and you will see that the vote share of the BJP is pretty much fixed. So as the vote share of the JDS over the last few elections, which means that Karnataka is a state where the voters very rarely shift their votes. The votes are already set. There is just about 4 or 5% of the entire vote share that is open for any party to woo. And this is the 4 or the 5% vote share that decides the electoral outcomes, whether it is a hung assembly, whether it is any single party getting a simple majority. Everything revolves around these 4 or 5% voters. Now, who are these 4 or 5% voters? Caste combinations in Karnataka are already fixed. Many castes and subcastes. Of course, there's a little bit of 15 to 25% of votes within the Vokaligas, within the Lingayats who vote for other parties other than the parties that they've pledged their allegiance to or understood to support a particular party. Like Vokaligas, for example, are understood to support the JDS. That does not mean that they vote for the JDS en masse. Within the Vokaligas themselves, there are, of course, about 25% to even 35% or 40% voters who vote for the Congress, who vote for the BJP in some seats. Within the Lingayats as well, it's about 28% of the Lingayats do vote for the Congress. Of course, they don't vote largely for the JDS unless in specific seats, depending on the person that the party has fielded in that particular seat. So caste votes are pretty much set. So they don't fall under this 4 or 5% of the vote share that dilly-dallies or that sways. So who are these people? They are new voters. They are fence-sitters. Some of them urban voters who vote on issues, do not vote on caste, community, or party lines. These are also the voters that can be swayed with, say, promises that you make in an election. Voters who need the government, need the party in government to provide them with the basic facilities that any citizen of this country would require. So the entire election revolves around largely these three groups, since everything else is pretty much set.
Tehseen, when we talk about Congress, you have been quite vocal about just bringing and tapping into the local issues. And importantly, you said just earlier that it's just the 3% or 4% vote share that will decide the entire thing, and it will take Congress across 135. And given the fact that whatever is happening on the ground and how the electoral politics is in Karnataka, what's the role if someone else will argue that okay, it will be hung assembly again? What do you make of that? I mean, if it is, is there a combination that's on cards between INC or JDS for that matter, even if it has not worked in the past the way it should have been?
So if there's a hung assembly, the JDS will go with the BJP. Take it in writing from me. Please
Hmm.
understand that. They won't come with the Congress. अरे वहाँ प्राइम मिनिस्टर बैठे ईडी डायरेक्टर बैठा हुआ लेट मी स्पीक इन इंग्लिश द प्राइम मिनिस्टर home minister ED director CBI director is sitting. They're not going to come to the Congress will keep giving Deve Gowda ji with a lot of respect in Rajya Sabha. JDS, and you see my reading again, this is my reading of Kumaraswamy sir is he is very pro BJP. He likes the BJP more than the Congress. So the JDS will 100% go with the BJP. They might make him chief minister like Eknath Shinde for some time, but he won't come with the Congress. It's not possible. So the BJP is hoping at this moment for 80, 70 to 80. That's the best scenario and a hung assembly. That's when Amit Shah ji, the governor, CBI and ED comes into play. I'm being very blunt. The Congress at 115 is also not safe. The Congress needs 130 plus. And therefore, I repeat what I said earlier. Don't make mistakes. The Congress has a momentum going. It's slightly slowed down. The Prime Minister has not yet come into Karnataka completely. He's not started full steam. So don't lose the momentum by scoring self votes. So I think 115 to 115 is all right for the Congress, but it's not comfortable. And the BJP is hoping for a hung assembly. The BJP is not going to, at this moment, it doesn't look like the BJP is going to win.
What do you make of this, taking a volunteer retirement from the politics by Yadurappa, even if he has played an important role in the politics of Karnataka?
I have to put a caveat out. I know Yadurappaji and Shovaji and his family well. His political, so Shovaji politically, I'm talking, know them very well. And I have immense respect for Yadurappa, sir. He's a tremendous politician. He cares about Karnataka. As Anusha rightly said, he's not just a Lingayat leader, he's the tallest Lingayat leader. He's also a farm leader. He's a grounded leader. He knows Karnataka inside out. He built this political party, BJP, on a cycle. On a cycle. This man, I have so much, he's an old-fashioned politician. Okay, so I have a lot of respect for him. And the BJP forced him out as chief minister for a policy that is an arbitrary policy for the BJP, which they like to market. And I think, in my opinion, the Lingayat community was quite offended by that. That's point number one. Because they realized that the Lingayat votes are not going to come this time, the BJP, which takes it for granted, may slightly move towards the Congress. They try to get Yadurappa ji back by getting him to the BJP parliamentary board, which is their highest decision making, on par with the Congress CWC. So they got him into this, and obviously Amit Shah ji, everywhere he goes, or the Prime Minister evokes Yadurappa ji. There was also a comment by C.T. Ravi ji, if I'm not mistaken, or it could be one of the other these, but I think it was by C.T. Ravi, where he said tickets will not be decided on anybody's breakfast table. And Amit Shah sir went straight to Yadurappa's house for breakfast, and the list was announced. So they have gone out of the way to placate Yadurappa ji, because it was humiliating the way Yadurappa ji was treated. Mr. Modi never took on Yadurappa ji. So I'm just going to go slightly back. If you go back to 2014, when Modi ji became prime minister, you'll see visuals of him calling each state leaders and MPs, and all of them standing up before Mr. Modi. He's sitting on this high chair on a stage, and everybody standing before him, including Harshvardhan ji, in attention, and Modi ji's, like a school teacher talking to them. Fine, they're a democracy, and Modi ji is the leader. But that didn't happen with Yadurappa ji. Yadurappa ji kept sitting there. So there is a status and an aura that Yadurappa ji has, which even the Prime Minister knows cannot be tampered with. So they've gone out of the way to sort of calm him down. But let's be practical, right? And I'm a political analyst. What after this election? Are they going to be that generous to Yadurappa ji's kids? You know the fact, and I know the fact. Are they going to be able to let go of whatever they also have a Brahmin vote base, which is good. Are they going to be able to let go of that and sort of not get them involved in the politics? No, they can't do that, the BJP. So even Yadurappa ji knows what's going to happen post these elections. If little bit of the Lingayat votes shift to the Congress is home. So I think it's a good campaign that the BJP is trying to run. It's not going to win on the Prime Minister's magic. It will have to get its caste equations correct. And for that, they will have to be in the good books of Yedurappa. Note my words. I am not saying Yedurappaji will have to be in the good books of the BJP. I am saying the BJP will have to be in the good books of the Yedurappa. I'm deliberately making this statement.
And apart from that, I have written down this point that post May 13, I'll just be repeating it either on Twitter or we'll have another podcast for that. Anusha, you have been talking about this 5% vote share that's available to all the political parties, whosoever can explore it the better way it can. Earlier, there was a perception that elections in Karnataka would go the way Lingaites would vote. And this time around, the entire thing is quite so ambiguous because you have Yadurappa even being Lingayat and then being the current chief minister of the state if he is from the Lingayat community. What do you make of the Lingayat factor in the Karnataka politics this time around?
See, first of all, there are two communities that are presumed to be politically, culturally, and socially dominant in Karnataka, that is Vokaligas and Lingayats. There are multiple reasons for this. First of all, Lingayats, let's remember that largely are largely spread across northern districts of Karnataka and some parts of Old Mysuru. Vokaliga is largely in the southern part of the state. The understanding comes from the fact that this is not just a politically aware group, but also from because they are a socially, economically, educationally forward group. But if you look at just numbers, Dalits, in fact, form the largest social group in Karnataka. However, within Dalits, there are multiple sub-castes, sub-communities, etc. Dalits are a divided bunch. There is SC right, SC left in Karnataka, and SC left backs the BJP traditionally, and SC right backs the Congress. Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge is also from the SC right communities. He's one from the SC right caste groups. So it is not just Lingayats who are the dominant community. That I want to clarify that first. Vokaligas and Lingayats both are seen as being dominant communities. There are multiple reasons, like I said. One of the other reasons is also because Karnataka has had the most number of chief ministers from these two communities. We've had between these two communities, there have been about, I think, 15 chief ministers between Lingayats and Vokaligas, 9 from the Lingayat community and 6 from the Vokaliga community, if I'm not wrong, including Mr. Devegadam, H.D. Kumaraswamy, including the likes of B.S. Yedurappa. So that being the case, it is not wrong for somebody to presume that these two castes, in fact, decide which way electoral prospects of parties swing in Karnataka's elections. Also because of the social capital that they come from. Somebody in a debate that I was moderating earlier last week, Professor A. Narayana, who's also a political analyst and an observer who currently is with Azim Premji Institute, he had a very valid point to make because of the social capital that Lingayats come with or Vokaligas come with. They are one Lingayat or one Vokaliga is able to influence about 4 voters. One Dalit voter is perhaps only able to influence one more. So that's also one of the reasons why these two communities are seen as dominant in Karnataka's political landscape. So there are a multitude of reasons where this presumption comes from, and it is not a myth, I must say. It's presumption based on trends, on patterns, on representation. You look at the number of candidates that have been fielded by each of these parties as well, and you will see that the largest number of tickets have also gone to these two communities. Leader candidates from these two communities that tell you something that they are influential. Also, the fact that these communities have very powerful religious monasteries that we call mathas in Karnataka, that is associated with them, that are representative of these communities. And you will see during election time, every single leader is making rounds of these mathas. You've seen temple runs of leaders. You'll also see matha runs of these leaders. Even yesterday, Mr. Jairam Ramesh of the Congress, or earlier today, met one of the Vokaliga Mathasiyas. So that's how influential they are. And because they are unlike the Dalit vote bank or unlike the Dalit social group, which is divided into many, many, many smaller castes and subcommunities. Vokalikas and Lingayat leaders, because of their social awareness, of their political representation, etc., are able to consolidate votes in favor of a particular party or a particular candidate. Um, so I think that the ability to consolidate, the ability to act and behave and make choices as one single group with um, far less aberrations and far less breakaways than other caste and community groups in Karnataka make them a formidable force in Karnataka's political landscape.
Before I go to Tehseen for the last comment, Anusha, what do you make of the current caste structure that's up for the political parties look into? Because and importantly, the reservation issue that has been completely overhauled, and it is now a different reservation thing that has been brought in by the current chief minister.
The
What do
new
you make of that?
reservation cannot be implemented. Let us be very clear about it. The Supreme Court has already asked the state government, and the state government has given an undertaking to the Supreme Court that until 9th of May, which is one day before polling day, at least for now, there will be no changes made to existing reservation system. Existing reservation system is up to 50% already, under which SCSTs have their reservation. Let me recall the numbers before I make it. So the new change that the government intended to bring is increasing SC reservation and ST reservation, both put together, ST reservation to about 7% and SC reservation to about 17% from the existing 5 and 15%. Then comes OBC reservation, under which there are multiple categories. And they wanted to do away with 2B category of OBC reservation, which was reserved for Muslims, and divide it between Vokaligas and Lingayats, which are seen as, like I said, socially dominant communities. Now, the Supreme Court has asked the state government to put all of those decisions on hold because the Supreme Court is not convinced that these decisions were taken on scientific data after thorough research and report. The state government came up with these changes or proposed these changes to the reservation based on an interim report by the Backward Classes Commission, which is not accepted so far, which is not acceptable to the Supreme Court so far. The Supreme Court insists in the Indra Swani case, categorically, the judgment in the Indra Swani case about reservation states that any changes to reservation matrix has to be backed by data, has to be based on a report or a proper survey carried out by the government to assess backwardness of various communities and to decide whether any community should stay or be removed from certain sections of reservation matrix overall. So that is the scenario as of now. So how is that going to impact caste equations? We've at South First, we've had a couple of pre-poll surveys, and one of our questions in that pre-poll survey carried out by People's Pulse was this: were people aware of the existing reservation patterns or the changes that have been brought into the reservation patterns? Most people didn't know. Most people didn't know that the government has proposed a new reservation matrix, that they've uh, tried to remove reservation for Muslims under 2B category and divide it up between Vokaligas and Lingayats. I'm talking about normal, regular people in rural Karnataka who have much more important things to worry about, like water, like irrigation, like not being able to buy fuel for their motor sets in the farm, but like not being able to buy cooking oil to make food at home. So these are very real problems, and I think for narratives, it's great. All the debate and discussion about reservation changes, which communities being left out, etc., is great for debates and discussion. But on ground, the issues that people have raised are much more real, are much more basic, and are much more personal than all of this. Caste combinations, for somebody who does not know much about Karnataka politics, understanding is very simple. The BJP is severely dependent on largely three communities, on three sets of voters. Let's say three sets of voters. One is the ideological voter, who's largely bought into associates themselves with the RSS, its ideology, the BJP, largely from the coastal belt of Karnataka, the three districts of coastal belt, heavily ideological voters there. The other two groups that are non-ideological but inclined voters to the BJP, largely the dominant castes or socially dominant castes like the Brahmins, like Vaishyas, a section of Jain communities. In Karnataka, Jains have a very special relationship with Hindu temples and Hindu religion as a whole. And the other section of voters, largely that vote for the BJP, are Lingayats, and you've seen many, many leaders, many, many candidates from that community. Mr. B.S. Yediyurappa also belongs to that particular community. The Congress, on the other hand, actually has a great umbrella coalition of voters. I must say they have um, they get a chunk of Lingayat voters, they get a chunk of Vokaliga voters. They have great support from SC right. They have a little bit of voters, ST voters, tribal votes are divided between BJP and Congress largely in Karnataka. They have huge support from minority voters, Christians, Muslims, both put together. This is largely the Congress's voter. The Congress also likes to understand that a large section of rural voters are natural Congress voters, unlike urban voters who deem themselves to be natural BJP voters. Then comes the JDS. The JDS largely draws its electoral powers or voter power from the Vokaliga community because the party is headed by a Vokaliga icon, Mr. H.D. Devegowda, and now his son H.D. Kumaraswamy is trying to take the same sentiment forward. And you will also see that the party is its strongest in this Vokaliga belt of Old Mysuru region and parts of central Karnataka. The JDS also gets votes from Muslim communities. It doesn't have great resonance among Christian communities, unfortunately for the party, but it does manage to draw minority votes, Muslim votes, and a section and a small component of SC votes as well. Very, very small but minuscule. So largely caste equations are placed like that in Karnataka.
Uh, that's quite interesting. I mean, for the last thing, Tehseen, I would like from you to hear about this. Has the Bharat Jodo Yatra, powered by Congress and led by Rahul Gandhi, has it just resonated with the voters that Congress has got in the Karnataka? Number one. Number two, is that what are your predictions for the final results? I mean, as of now, there are people who say that it's a hung assembly. There are people from different parties, and they say that okay, Congress will be having the last laugh in Karnataka.
So Bharat Jodo will definitely have an impact in the state of Karnataka because this is the first major state which is going to polls where Bharat Jodo spent a lot of time. So far, all the states that have gone to polls, whether it's been the northeastern states or Gujarat or Himachal, Bharat Jodo didn't really go through that. So the electoral result of Bharat Jodo will come to an extent in Karnataka. You also had that famous image of Rahulji giving the speech in Rains in Karnataka, which went very, very viral, akin to Sharad Pawarji in Maharashtra. And there's also his conviction in Surat for a speech which he had made in 2019 in Karnataka. And please understand the state of Karnataka, the state of Andhra, the state of Telangana, whether it shows electorally or no, has a lot of connection with the Gandhi family. So Karnataka, and I've been to Karnataka, um, there is a soft spot for the Gandhi family. Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala are three states where Mr. Gandhi does very well against the Prime Minister, even in a one-to-one fight. The Prime Minister, of course, is way ahead in the Hindi heartland states, but these three states, Mr. Gandhi doesn't do very badly. And in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, he's even slightly ahead of the Prime Minister. So there is a lot of affinity for the Gandhi. So Bharat Jodo will have certain impact in Karnataka. Is Bharat Jodo a reason why the Congress will win? No, it won't. But it adds to the weight of the Congress. Congress also has a great organization. It's got its caste equations correct. So if it has in Siddaramaya ji an OBC leader from the Shepherd community. It has in DK Shiv Kumar a vocal Liga leader. Who then it also has the Lingayats in SB Patil, MB Patil. It also has Muslim leaders. So it brings people together. So the Congress becomes the one tent under which various sections of Karnataka are very comfortable. What is the final prediction? Those speaking about a hung house are generally BJP supporters because that's BJP's best bet. The Congress isn't speaking about it. What should the Congress do? 115 won't help the Congress because at 115, the governor will come into play. Operation Lotus will come into play. So 115 will not, 135 plus. And for that, I've said earlier, I don't want to repeat it. Don't score self votes. Just now, I was just reading while Anusha was speaking. A BJP MLA's abused Mrs. Gandhi. So Karnataka was not this culture. This was not the culture of Karnataka. See, Karnataka and Maharashtra, they're bordering states. The culture is very different. And this culture should not be brought in into these two beautiful states. People don't like it. So both parties need to restrain, speak on issues, at least the Congress. Nandini is a big issue. Karnataka pride is a big issue. Siddaramaya has so much traction, so much traction. People love what Siddaramaya did in those 5 years. Even in anti-incumbency, he didn't do too badly. Congress got 80 plus votes, but Anusha will bear with me. The Congress vote percentage-wise was the highest vote, had the highest vote percentage. It's only because of JDS it lost votes. Otherwise, the Congress had the highest vote percentage. It, in fact, after anti-incumbency got higher vote than the BJP got. It didn't translate into seats. So look at what the Congress has and don't, for lack of another word, if I'm allowed to use, screw it up. Just be focused on the issues of Karnataka and the Congress's home. Fight the elections like how you fought in Himachal.
For the last thing from Anusha, what do you make? What are the current, what are the issues that actually resonate with the people? 4, 5 issues at the end of this podcast.
You can divide the issues into made up issues and actual issues. And if you go by the narratives of political parties, you would believe that um, corruption is the largest issue in Karnataka. That is the line that the Congress has taken. The Congress and JDS both have taken to go after the BJP. While the BJP insists that development is the biggest issue in Karnataka this election, and they bring to the table development like never before. That is the BJP's pitch. And the JDS treads a path where it insists that the BJP has embroiled Karnataka in communal controversies one after the other, which is not natural to Karnataka, which is not common to Karnataka, and they would rather focus on putting Kannadigas first. So these are the pitches of the various parties this particular election. But on ground, from whatever we understand, yes, corruption is an issue. It is something that has impacted lives everywhere in villages as well. But more than that, much more than that, all the people that we've spoken to so far, we've covered different parts of the state with our reporters doing ground reports from elsewhere. What we understand is primarily farmers have great difficulty with fertilizers, prices of everyday commodities. Fuel prices are a huge issue. Women in rural Karnataka have face huge issues with lack of um, basic facilities, right from your LPG connection, which they cannot refill anymore because Ujjwala guarantees them LPG connection, but after that it's back to the grind for them, for these women. Lack of water supply, the lack of jobs, unemployment is a huge issue. No, I find it very, very disappointing that no political party in its large speeches is using this for their political discourse. Unemployment is a huge issue. Not having enough money to take care of your family is a huge issue. Inflation is a huge issue in Karnataka across the state. At least these are the issues that people are talking about. Corruption definitely making an impact in people's lives. Price of fertilizers definitely an issue for the farmers. Kisan Samman Yojana that is being pushed by the BJP is one of the flagship programs of the Prime Minister, which guarantees financial assistance to farmers, is great. But it is of no use if the farmers are ending up paying much more than the subsidy that they're receiving from the government towards the costs, input costs to do the same job that they have been doing for years, and on the same time have to also handle inflation and to take care of their homes. So these are very, very serious issues. Farmers' sons, children, daughters don't have jobs to do, and hence they're forced to take on the jobs that their fathers, their mothers, their forefathers are doing. So on ground, these are very severe issues, but I will not take away from the fact that money plays a huge role in elections in Karnataka. They are a costly elections are a costly affair, and people do get swayed by money, by promises of whatever, whether you call it freebies, whether you call it welfare schemes, whether you just call it bribe for voters. All of these things are happening. The Congress is coming up, making its announcements of guarantees of social welfare schemes. The BJP is insisting that these are just ravees and freebies that are being given away. The JDS, on the other hand, has promised free education, short employment for everybody. So There are various ways that parties are approaching it, and I'm not going to take away from them that all of them are addressing these issues in their own ways. But that's not what we see in the political discourse. At least these subjects are not being touched
So let's make
upon in their speeches largely. It's all confined to corruption, communal issues.
May I just add one thing to this?
Yeah, sure.
You see, when you ask the BJP at the state level, and I've seen several interviews, tell us 5 things the state government has done. They have nothing. They just go out to the honorable prime minister. Every scheme is only the prime minister, including the Kisan Yojana, is only prime minister, prime minister. They have nothing to say what they've done in the state. I think somewhere down the line, this also at some point will affect, well, the voters will ask, we gave you a double engine sarkar. What did you do? If everything the prime minister has to do. I would add to one issue which is there. It's a cultural issue. I think Karnataka pride and the language. I think it's an extremely important issue. I'm just slightly going to divert, and I don't. And yesterday I got trolled by a lot of people on Twitter because I made a comment where the honorable prime minister, while congratulating an anchor for learning Hindi, said that the anchor learned Hindi in my state of Maharashtra and my city of Mumbai. And I have no problem. I love Hindi. I mean, I earn money with Hindi. It's like my mother, but it's not my mother. It's like my mother, right? My mother is Marathi. So why won't you learn Marathi in Mumbai? And I got trolled for it. And I understand people trolling me, but imagine that. So I think it's a very important. I think subconsciously the BJP does have an affinity towards an imposition of a certain language flow. And I never get it because even if the prime minister comes from Gujarat, which is a beautiful state. My mom comes from Gujarat. Why doesn't he speak nationally in Gujarat or internationally in Gujarat? Maybe nationally he doesn't, but international conferences, why does he have to speak in Hindi? He could speak in Gujarati. It's our language, right? So why? Suppose we have a prime minister from Karnataka. I'd be very happy if he spoke in the state language. Or if you have a prime minister from Maharashtra, very happy if he spoke in a state language, or from Kerala, speak in the state language. Why not speak in Malayalam, Tamil, Marathi? Why do you have to speak only in a language? And if you're from Gujarat, so you could speak in Gujarat. So I think that could be an issue. I'm not trying to divide people, but it's something that it gets me thinking. Why shouldn't it? There's another issue that I think is in national elections, the political parties, and I've been speaking to the Congress, they should speak about, speaking to a lot of Southern MPs. You see, this entire parliament is going to now be reconstituted post 2024. So seats are going to go up. Now, my state of Maharashtra, the state of Tamil Nadu, the state of Kerala, and the state of Karnataka, I've kept the total fertility rate low, right? So our seats will go down. Now, I speak as Maharashtra. I contribute the highest in GST and taxes to the country. I'm not saying this in a chauvinistic way, right? I contribute the highest. I get the least back. And I agree that my poorer fellow citizens must get help. Why should my seats get reduced? Why should my political clout reduce? I followed the government of India's program, right? And my TFR is right. Like between my wife and I, we're just going to have one kid. We're not going to have the second kid. We're very clear. If we do, it'll be we'll adopt. We won't have a biological. So we follow it, and we are being punished politically. And whose seats will go up? So I think these are issues that as a nation we need to speak about. These are not divisive issues. These are issues of our constitutional rights. Every time we speak about it, we are attacked and trolled very badly. I think we should have a conversation decently about it. And the BJP should make its position clear on these issues. And I think that politically we should be taken up by the southern states because we contribute so much to this country, as do others, but we also contribute. So I don't think that should be, or the western states. So I think that should be addressed. So I think these are issues that should be raised. One more issue, and I was thinking this in the airline yesterday, day before when I was coming. Why is the announcement in English and Hindi when I'm coming to Maharashtra? I love Hindi, believe me, but you can do English, Hindi, Marathi when you're coming to Maharashtra. It's only, anyways, it's recorded. If you're going to Kerala, do English, Hindi, Malayalam. Why isn't that language there? I have nothing against English or Hindi. I think they're great languages. I think English should be taught to people even more because English gives you tremendous global advantage. But why aren't our state languages promoted? What have we done wrong? I think these are important questions to ask and discuss within the union.
Before we can conclude, let's keep our fingers crossed. If taking taking Tehseen, whatever he said about if it's 40% vote share to Congress, it will be 135 plus for Congress in the assembly. And if it's a hung assembly, it will go the BJP way, any which way. So, lastly, thank you both for coming to the podcast. I hope that on 13th and post 13th of May, we'll be having a podcast analyzing all the things that even if something goes wrong, what Anusha said, that you cannot ignore the power of money and power of other things into politics, and modifying and doing tinkering with the public opinion for that matter.
No, but
So
that is
you
also public opinion. What makes you think that people who are voting, see, for whatever reasons they are voting, they are voting. It's their choice. Whichever party comes to power, it's the people's choice. Whatever their motivation is left to people. I don't think I'm keeping any fingers crossed at all. It's
Yeah,
just,
neither am
it's,
I. But
yeah,
I have an objection. I have an objection. This business of, oh, people are voting for freebies. Jab, and with absolute respect to the Honorable Prime Minister, when you give 80 crore people free meals, which you should, if they don't, it is our duty, right? How is that not freebies? But a state of Karnataka decides to empower women as freebies. You give a Dalit something, that's freebie. But you give 80 crore people, that's not freebie. मतलब there's a Hindi muhavra, आप करे तो चमत्कार, कोई और करे तो गुनेगार. It means you do it's a miracle, somebody else does they're criminal. Why? Why is yours a miracle and I a criminal? Why should that? So everything, Prime Minister is giving you 5 lakh rupees insurance. Okay, but if the state of Rajasthan is giving you 10 lakhs, oh, that's a freebie. Why is it a freebie? So Prime Minister can give 5 lakhs, but I can't give 10 lakhs. So I think this conversation also within the federal structure needs to start happening. That everything can't be a gift of the honorable Prime Minister to the country, and he's the benevolent leader who gives us, and anyone else who does it is freebie. It doesn't work like this. We are a country committed to welfare. We are a welfare country. Why did we get our independence? To be a welfare country, to be masters of our own destiny. That's what Jawaharlal Nehru says in Tears, in Tryst with Destiny, right? To wipe every tear from every eye. That's our goal for independence. So Prime Minister does is benevolent. If Siddaramaya ji or Kumaraswamy ji does or somebody else does, nee, this is freebie. This is voter bribe. This is influencing the voter. Why? How is that influencing the voter? But we should have this conversation. It's a good conversation to have in a democracy.
So it's up to the political parties. I mean, you and me and Anusha and people like us, there will be people who will be talking about this thing that okay, it's not coming into the minds of the political parties, and it doesn't fit into their election manifestos or the political discourse. That if Prime Minister announces anything, it's not a freebie, and if any other political party announces, or the Chief Minister of any other opposing party uh, is announcing the same thing, it's a freebie. I mean, it's up to the political parties if they have to make a choice to initiate a conversation. If they don't, so you and I cannot help them.
So we should have this conversation. In a union, these conversations should be made.
Mhm. Anyways, thank you for joining me on this podcast. It was so nice and it was so insightful. I'll be waiting for the next podcast after May 13th. Until then, have a splendid time, and thank you. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anusha.
thank
Thank
you,
you,
Venesh.
Mehra.
Thank you, Tessie.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.